Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
All right. Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Desmond Wysenyuy with me here today. All right. Desmond is a space science engineer for over a decade, specialized in satellite communications, design, and geospatial intelligence, experience in transforming complex challenges into measurable solutions. He founded Space-Based Solutions, a consultancy dedicated to leveraging space tech and infrastructure using advanced tech and innovations to address challenges on Earth and beyond. He previously worked as a management and research analyst at the School of Earth and Space Exploration at ASU, project manager at the United Nations ECA, co-founded and pioneered president of the Mars Society Thunderbird chapter. He's an active member of the Space Force Association, National Space Society, Mars Society ambassador, and teacher's liaison officer at Space Foundation. That's a lot. That's awesome. Thank you. Welcome, Desmond.
Thank you very much, Tim, for this opportunity, and I'm glad to be here.
All right, thank you very much. So people who watch the show probably know by now that I'm a nerd. I have a PhD in neuroscience, but my undergraduate courses were physics and chemistry. Those are my majors, and so I had a big focus. And I'm a product of Star Wars and other stuff. I grew up loving all that stuff and reading all about all that stuff. So science fiction has become science reality now, and that's kind of your focus.
Yeah.
What got you into it?
All right. So starting back, I will take guys a little bit backward from where I really had this interest into space. Mm-hmm. So first, I'm originally from Cameroon, that is in Africa. And back then, space, it was like a myth for us. And we were just always gazing the sky and looking into the stars back in the village in my country. And with that, I just like, okay, this is very interesting. But as a kid, I didn't know what it was all about. So sure. I grew up with a family of 6. I went to my elementary school back home. I got my undergrad in electrical and computer engineering. And with that, I specialized in telecommunications. So with telecommunications now, I found interest in communication systems. But back home in Cameroon, we don't have any station space. Like we don't have any space agency. Right. And again, as you guys know, telecommunications, they do have their advantages and limitations when it comes to, transmission, like point-to-point communication. There's a lot of distortions like hilly mountains in remote areas. There is those challenges that we have. And coming from Africa, in my village, from origin, we have those challenges. So I was like, okay, how can I help my community to solve these problems? That idea came to me that, satellite communication can solve this problem. So that brought me out of Cameroon, that I pursued a master's degree in space science and technology, specialized in satellite communication design in Nigeria. So this school, it's a UNOSA school, United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs. So one of the centers was inaugurated in Africa. So I left Cameroon and went to Nigeria for my master's. So I got my master's, and that's when I really went deep now into the technology in space, the science of space. And that I got a job with the United Nations at Fergestad based in Nigeria, where I worked with several projects as a project manager and as a lecturer as well. Okay. So I was kind of involved in lecturing part of GIS and satellite communication. And part of GIS, I worked with geologists, I worked with the Nigerian law enforcement, like the Army, the Navy, we worked on several kind of sensitive stuff because they work on tracking, using radar sensing and all of that to know what is happening around. Yeah. So over the time, I realized that, wait a minute, I have a very great technical background, but I lacked managerial skills because I was involved in a lot of projects, international projects with government, projects with different kind of stakeholders. So I said, okay, I think I need some more career growth to improve on my managerial skills when it comes to negotiation, when it comes to communication, when it comes to strategic operations. So that took me all the way out of Nigeria to the US 2022, where I came to Thunderbird School of Global Management. It's a unit of Arizona State University. So there I have my master's in global management and I specialize in global digital transformation. And I
Okay.
just graduated last couple of months back, May. So with that, I had to do something because being in the US, I saw a lot of opportunities. And one of the things that I learned was networking, because without networking, I wouldn't have been where I am today. So right back from Cameroon, I was already doing some networking, trying to know people, learning from people and know what they are doing, right? So it's based on networking that brought me right here because I found Space Foundation. And as a teacher's liaison, I was trying to get involved with my community and helping the community and teaching the young Africans on, STEM as a whole. So coming back here, I realized that I need to start something. And there I founded Space-Based Solutions. So this is a consultancy that it has two primary goals. The very first goal is to create awareness about, the importance of this new frontier, which is space.
Sure.
So,
Big industry.
yeah,
People don't appreciate it. It's sort of off the radar.
very true, team. So that is the first point. The second point is taking consultancy projects, working on geospatial information science, like creating geoportals for different stakeholders, right? And at the same time, again, I work on, strategic projects and seeing how I can improve the operational proficiency of maybe a space company and what they are doing in terms of their marketing, their strategy, and different approaches. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into, you call it SBS?
Yeah. SP.
Yeah. Before you get into your company, let's back up a second, if you don't mind. And
Yep.
it seems like you taught in Nigeria and you sort of creating awareness. It seems like educating and incorporating more of this into local communities and at what ages or grade levels are you looking to participate in?
Oh yeah. So back in Nigeria, while working with the UN, I was working with experts. So what happens is the UN, the government, intergovernmental organizations, different agencies, space agencies in Africa, they will send experts, right, to have more training, more certification with the new tools.
Right.
For example, like ArcGIS Pro, right? You need to keep up with the new tools that are being used, the new softwares, right? So they send experts to come over to our center, our institute, and we train them. So we have different trainings that we, 6 months training, 3 months training. Then again, we were offering master's degree programs for students. So again, these master's degree students, we don't really have like undergrads then coming to masters. They are the experts coming for this master's program. But with the master's program, they write the research thesis. It goes through the traditional process, right?
Okay.
So I was kind of more involved with senior people, experts, and it was really challenging for me at the start because like you are being an expert, Jim, you need to ensure that I keep, to the top knowledge, to have the recent knowledge to teach these people.
Right.
So I had to challenge myself. I did a lot of readings, a lot of practicals, because one thing I learned is you can talk and talk, but where is the output, right? What is the result?
Sure.
So you need to practicalize that and show people that, hey, this is the result. This is how it's been done.
Sure.
So,
and when you have to raise awareness and educate and teach at different levels, you really get to know the material yourself, right?
Exactly.
Because you have to distill it down really simply, and to do that, you really have to understand the bigger picture and to share that properly. So what levels? I'm sorry. Where are you planning on raising awareness and providing educational materials and so forth?
Yeah, so with SBS, I'm looking into all levels, right? First things first, I'm looking into how I can get into elementary schools, because from speaking with an African perspective back home, there is no space curriculum into secondary schools, primary schools. We don't have that there.
Right. We don't even hear. We have STEM schools, right?
STEM schools, exactly.
Right.
But not like specifics, right? So, we need to get to the pace of time. We need to advance ourselves because the world is fast changing. Things are changing. IT, AI, space. Those are the new frontiers. So me being a father of 2 kids, I'm looking into what am I going to do for my kids? How can I impact them to have, not like I'm implementing certain fields to them, but I'm showing them what is trending, right? So by doing that, I'm going out now to the community. So one of the things we are looking at is how we can go to schools and like, hey, we propose a curriculum. You could add it to your STEM, your other curriculums. Like, hey, this is the area that you should, teach kids for fun, right? They will love it. Because back home, I remember when you talk about space, you are amazed already. Oh, space. Everybody's amazed. They don't even know what you're doing in space when you just mention space. And that is the beauty about it.
Right. Wondrous. Yes. My kids, went a number of summers, they did summer camp. It used to be right over here by us in Peoria. The Challenger Space Center used to have a facility right over here, which was great. The kid had all sorts of material, and they had a few different curriculums and camps and things they could do at different ages, which was great. I think it's moved sort of over by the Tempe. I don't remember where it's moved now. It's more in the Southeast Valley, I think. Are you familiar with the Challenger Space Center?
Yeah, and I think I know that. And there's another one in Phoenix. It's a space center, it's a space museum also within Phoenix that they have great stuff there as well. I visited there several times and I volunteer there as well. So you have kids coming from different schools. They have different programs as well.
Right.
Okay. I don't just want,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it this way. I don't want it to be that way. Like, hey, you need to bring kids from schools to come and see. No, take it to them there.
Right.
Let it be there for them. So they should decide on what they want to do. You want to be a medical doctor, you want to be a pilot, you want to be a space engineer, you want to be an astronaut, whatever, because space is broad. I mean, there are so many segments in space that it's so beautiful that, I mean, we can take advantage of that.
Yeah. Real quick, let's talk briefly about the economics of the projections for the space industry in the coming years. I've heard of things from all over the place. One of the most interesting about a year or so ago was when Elon was talking about how some of these asteroids or something, they can just go, if they could just mine some of the minerals on some of those things, that'd be enough to fund his company for decades, just one of them, if they, bring it in. So where's really the real sort of value of the industry and that it's going to provide and what's going to really fund it moving forward? And I'm imagining a lot of it's communication.
Yeah, that's very true, Tim. And when you look into it, you realize that there are two frontiers that are trending now. You have AI and you have space. And talking into space, from statistics, looking into what Space Foundation came out with, it's over the revenue is going to 450, not 500 billion by 2024 right now. And by 2030 has been projected to 1 trillion. So that tells you a lot already, the economical aspect of it. Because as you rightly said, space mining, it's a lot. And there is a space race itself. Who is going to mine in space? Who owns space? So these are questions that we all asking. And with that said, I had this idea like, okay, I'm leaving Thunderbird. So what can I do for the school regarding to space? Because I didn't have any space club, but this is something that is trending. So I had to found this Mars Society. There is a Mars Society itself, but I took that chapter to Thunderbird. But we are not just looking into Mars itself. We are looking into space. So Mars is just one part of it because that is another topic. People are trying to get to Mars. It's a whole topic on its own, right? But again, looking into the economical part of it, I think it's something that we should all look into it because the first people that will go to the moon will explore these places. They have the advantage. And when these minerals will be brought back to Earth, it's going to cost a lot of money. And not just the minerals itself. There are lots that we don't know about space here. There's a lot that to be done. And I'm grateful for what the US did with the Atmos Accord and trying to bring all countries together to participate in this program.
Excellent. So give us a quick snapshot of your business right now. I know it's in the early phases, which is exciting, but
so we are actually in an early phase now. I mean, it's just a couple of months ago that we started this, but so far so good. We have been having good prospects on how we can partner with some other space agencies here and see on how we can promote it, and not just space agencies because space cuts across everything, right? Just using your Google map, you're already using space. I mean, we leave space every day, but we don't know. So the good thing about it is that you can get into any industry and still, get into business with them. Talking into banking, you want to know where, they have hotspots of ATMs. You can use geospatial technology to give statistical analysis for them. You can work on mining, as I earlier said, you can partner with Honeywell. So right now we are seeing on how we can create some collaboration and networking and get some partners. So, and at the same time, so that is one phase of it. The other phase is the educational aspect of it. We're seeing on how we can reach out to communities, starting from the ground level, reach out with communities, go to schools, then we will go out to the governmental level that we can go. We will go to the Phoenix government and see on how they can, enforce this. And from there, we can go to radio stations like what we're doing right now. Someone like you will, send this out as well so that people should be aware of what we do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. I think the affiliations is a really good idea as well. I think, there's a number of really big companies here locally that would probably be a good fit for leveraging some of their services and promoting or sponsoring some of your types of endeavors.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of competition at that level starting in the private industry?
Yeah. There's a lot of competition because I mean, a lot of startups, we have a lot of startups now in space. And if you look into it, you realize that people are trying to niche it out as trying to go specific to a certain area. So what we are trying to focus on mostly talking to the monetary aspect of it, writing on how we can work with GIS and space communication. So the GIS aspect of it, we're creating geoportals. So we can
can you define that for listeners who may not know what GIS is?
Oh, GIS is a geoinformation system. So this is a technology that you actually work with maps, you work with data. It's maps and data, XYZ. So you're working with a location and you're working with data like statistical data, 1, 2, 3, right? So you're trying to bring these two aspects together. So you see like a map, a graph that shows you the location of a place. It shows different classifications, maybe talking of vegetation, right? Then you have now the analysis where you have pie charts, graph to explain that. So it's simply working on a project in a place that's remote sensing comes in. You're actually working somewhere that you're not presently there, right? So you're carrying out projects and work in an area that you're not physically in that place. So that is how the technology is. And it's a very good technology because it helps in a lot of industries. So GIS itself is one part of it. Then satellite communication, that is actually nanosat designs and different antennas that you design for communication. So we are trying to see on how we can advance laser communication because that is an aspect, a new communication system that is coming up using laser technology. So we are still trying to see on how we can improve with that and partner with other companies that are working with them.
Okay, real quick, because now you got me. You said that. So is that type of line of sight? Is the laser stuff just got a bigger bandwidth? What's the benefit?
Yeah, the benefit is we are just trying to see on how we can, because when you look into laser itself, right, it's just light, right, light rays, and you know how you can pass across.
Right.
Yeah. So it's still in a very development stage that we are still trying to improve on it because there is Laser Communication. That is a company owned by Bob Brownlee. It's a space guy. So I'm trying to see how I can work with him to advance that. So yeah, because it has its advantages that we are still trying to see how we can pivot that from space.
Is like a lot of startup companies, younger companies, their goal is ultimately to be purchased by a bigger company based off of what they pioneer and can bring into the new companies. Is that one of your
Yeah, I am very open to, starting something that, you can acquire. You can acquire me. I come into your own company, but I'm still working on those projects with you. It depends now on contract on what those terms may be. Like look into the other part where we work on geoportals, right? We can create geoportals for you. Geoportals are just active platforms within your own website that you just plug in numbers and it gives you results. And these geoportals has to do with graphs, has to do with maps, has to do with different locations with respect to what you're doing. So let me take, for example, like mining, because I'm doing a lot of work on mining already, right? Maybe Freeport is going to one of the areas, the mining sites, and then we will carry out different classification, soil classification, right? To see the different levels, to see the depth, to know the longevity. Then again, it's not just that you have to look at the geographic area, you have to do feasibility studies to know the area of the place, to know how many people are being displaced, what is the extent of the damage that may be caused. Because of course, when you go to a community, you cause damage in the process of doing mining. So you look into all those factors. But now we are trying to implement this in such a way that you will just plug in numbers and the algorithm will just do the calculation for you rather than taking a whole traditional project, working on the project and delivering results like, hey, this is output. No, we want to make it active.
Right.
So you just put in numbers, year in, year out, it will giving you those. Then you can do projection as well. You can forecast. So that is one of the technologies that we are looking into in terms of GIS and remote sensing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. And so what sort of affiliates do you have starting off here in the Valley that you're speaking of, like local Phoenix impact, that you're hoping to, do you already have some curriculums nearby or something that you're working with?
Yeah. So I actually looking into, like, we are on the rounding stage partnering with the Space Center, the Space Museum Center here in Phoenix, because they have been working on this aspect of education already. So I had to see on how I approach them and partner with them on how we can enforce this and strategize on better ways that we can get into schools. Then from there, we go to the ministry, to the government, then see how this could be implemented. So we have, like a draft curriculum already for kindergartens and K1, K2, all those different stages. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is a reflection question now. So what do you wish you knew about getting into this industry and being successful in it earlier in your career? Right. What tips would you have?
Like, come with the question again, early in my career.
Well, yeah. What do you wish you knew when you were younger about where you're at now that would have helped you be more successful or quicker, maybe?
Yeah, I wish I got into the space sector earlier enough, because with that I would have really been more specialized. Now I'm specialized, but it took time, right?
Okay.
Time. But getting into that field, STEM field, early enough and being a little bit specific, because back home we're kind of jack of all trade. They just teach us everything. But no, what I wish is if I could, be a little bit focused on a particular field, to be an expert of that. Because at the end of the day, when you be working in a company, it's what you can do. What are you good at doing? That's what you'll be employed for. You won't be employed for doing everything. No, that won't show some credibility in your work, right? So going back to the question, I wish I was a little bit focused. I was not like I'm blaming my parents. But I was a little bit focused by my educators to get into this field of space earlier enough. And what I wish is also my government back in Cameroon to see the importance of space, because we live with space applications every day. The moment you wake up from bed and the moment you lie back on bed, you're working on space. You're working with space applications without you knowing, because everything is powered with those applications, right? So we need to have that mindset that, hey, this is important. How can we empower our people to also take advantage of this technology, so we won't just be depending on other stakeholders and other international players to be providing us these services?
Right.
So I wish my people could see the importance of this and take the younger generation to focus on this very great field.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. And that fits with one of your missions with SBS, right? Too, is this to get people a little more aware earlier on, to know that it is an option, right? And to broaden their horizons. So that's great. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today and sharing some tips and insights with us. If people want to connect with you, what should they do?
My LinkedIn, page. It's there and then I'm still working on the website. Soon I'll upload that in my LinkedIn page, the website of SBS Space Gateway Solutions. So that will be out. But direct contact with me, you can check on my LinkedIn page, and my number for direct contact is 602-725-4952.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. That's space-based solutions, and there'll be
space-based solutions. Yeah.
Web URL for that at some point. All right.
Yeah, I will put that up soon. We are still working on it.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Desmond, for joining me today. We appreciate you sharing your success and your exciting new endeavor into the space industry. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tim, for having me. And I'm open to collaborations and partnering with people because I'm still, open to learning and improving my skills every day on how I can get better and make humanity far more better than it is today. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.